Yellowstone National Park is a place of great beauty with hot springs, geysers, and canyons that draw about 4 million visitors every year. But it's also a ticking time bomb. The park sits atop the world's largest supervolcano, which has the potential to blow and bury much of the western United States under ash. You might be surprised to learn that we've actually already experienced this scenario in the past. In fact, there have been 3 major eruptions in Yellowstone's history, which have left a record of the events preserved in the surrounding rocks. And while we know quite a bit about the last 2, scientists are still working to uncover the secrets of the first eruption. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to look at what's new in our understanding of Yellowstone's first historic eruption. Yellowstone is famous for its geothermal features, including the world's tallest active geyser, Steamboat Geyser, which reaches heights of over 300 feet. But these features are just the tip of the iceberg, or should I say, the tip of the magma chamber. There's a giant reservoir of molten rock that lies beneath the park, stretching more than 40 miles across. From time to time, sections of the North American plate that make up the Earth's crust move apart, allowing magma to rise from deep within the planet and accumulate in the resulting void. Over millions of years, this process has built up a magma chamber containing an estimated 2.5 trillion gallons of magma, enough to fill up 98 million Olympic-sized swimming pools. This magma chamber is the engine that drives Yellowstone's volcanic and geothermal activity. As pressure builds within the chamber, it forces hot water and steam from deep within the crust to escape as geysers and hot springs. Every year, the park experiences thousands of small earthquakes, some of which can be felt by local residents. Most are too weak to cause much damage, but they serve as a reminder that the giant is stirring. And Yellowstone isn't your average volcano. It belongs to a special category known as supervolcanoes. A supervolcano is any volcanic center that has had an eruption magnitude of 8 on the Volcanic Explosivity Index, which represents the biggest explosions that have ever occurred on Earth. 3 of these cataclysmic events have shaped Yellowstone's past. We have the most information about the youngest because it's easier to study something that happened recently in the grand scheme of things, but that was still over 600,000 years ago. Even so, scientists have been able to piece together the timeline of the event by examining layers of ash and other debris in the surrounding area. The first eruption is much more of a mystery. It's believed to have taken place between 2 and 3 million years ago, which makes it almost impossible to directly investigate. All that remains are the oldest layers of ash and lava, which have eroded significantly over the past couple of millennia. Some scientists believe the event may have occurred in 2 phases, with the second phase being considerably more violent. What makes this theory plausible is that scientists found evidence of a brief pause in the geologic record, represented by a layer of ash that's missing. In the 1980s, researchers discovered something even more surprising. While studying ancient lavas near the town of Mammoth Hot Springs, they found microscopic diamonds called microdiamonds. Microdiamonds form when rock deep within the planet experiences intense heat and pressure, such as during a volcanic eruption. But there was something strange about these microdiamonds. They contained tiny gas bubbles that hadn't been identified before. Scientists realized that the composition of these bubbles matched the gases released by deep underground volcanic vents in modern-day Yellowstone. This suggested that the ancient eruption had produced similar levels of volcanic gases to the ones that are released during eruptions today, and since these gases form only under extreme pressures, it meant that the explosion must have been incredibly powerful. But the evidence for the first eruption doesn't stop there. Another sign of its explosive power can be found hundreds of miles away in the state of Idaho. In the Hell's Half-Acre area of the Craters of the Moon National Monument and Preserves, there's a group of volcanic features that were created by the same event. These features include cinder cones, lava flows, and maars, which are small, explosive craters. By comparing the age of these features with that of Yellowstone's oldest layers of ash, scientists believe that the first eruption likely occurred around 2.1 million years ago. Yellowstone's first eruption was around 5 times more powerful than its most recent eruption, which took place 640,000 years ago. But the first eruption's impact was limited because it happened so long ago. The land surrounding Yellowstone was very different back then. Much of the Rocky Mountain region hadn't yet been uplifted, so the explosion didn't have as far to reach. But that doesn't mean it wasn't serious. Pyroclastic flows traveled up to 60 miles away from the epicenter, blanketing entire mountain ranges in ash. But over the next several 100,000 years, Wind and ice eroded most of the debris away, leaving behind a relatively thin layer of ash compared to the younger eruptions. The first eruption also played a role in shaping the landscape of the Pacific Northwest. Ash traveled all the way to the coast where it mixed with marine sediments and eventually became part of the Astoria Formation. This layer of rock contains fossils of marine animals, including clams, snails and corals, as well as land-dwelling animals like rodents and horses. Researchers are now using these fossils to determine how far the ash cloud reached after the first eruption. If they find fossils of animals that lived exclusively on land, it would suggest that the eruption plume reached farther east than previously thought. And if they find fossils of marine animals that lived in deep water, it would suggest that the eruption plume reached farther west than previously thought. Volcano watchers don't expect the first eruption to happen again anytime soon. Even though it was more powerful than the last eruption, there's no indication that there's an increase in volcanic activity. Instead, scientists are focused on the possibility of a second smaller eruption occurring in the near future. But the first eruption still holds many secrets. By unraveling the mysteries of this ancient event, we can better understand the history of the Yellowstone supervolcano and the processes that shaped our planet. Scientists continue to use new technologies to learn more about the first eruption. One promising tool is the use of drones to capture high-resolution images of hard-to-reach areas. For example, in 2022, researchers used drones to map lava flows near Norris Geyser Basin. By using these advanced technologies, scientists hope to gain a deeper understanding of Yellowstone's complex history and improve their ability to predict future activity. So while we may never know exactly what caused the first eruption or how far-reaching its effects truly were, we can be grateful that we're not around for the second one. Thanks for watching. What do you think is the most fascinating thing about Yellowstone? Let me know in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time.